What's up, guys? It's Michael from iApplyTech.com, and today we're going to be learning how to make an iPad stand. Now, before we start actually getting into the materials and items you will need to create this iPad stand, I want to tell you a little bit about this stand. First of all, this is an iPad stand, but it will hold pretty much any tablet about the same size as an iPad. This stand will run you about $15 or less, depending on where you buy it and what kind of coupons you had. I personally got it for about $10. And you guys may sound that may sound like a lot to some of you guys, but this particular stand right here, which is a custom stand that I got on a website. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it's this stand right here. You see this silver base, that's part of the stand. That stand runs $60 to $100 depending on what version you get. So $10 to $15 is a much better deal compared to this. And it doesn't look as nice as that, but it's again, for the price, it does the job very well. And I would highly recommend it, and I'm going to show you how to make it here today. So the first thing you're going to need is one of these clear plastic easels, or Easels, whatever you want to call them. Here's what mine is. I got mine at a store called Michael's Craft Stores, Craft Studios, I'm not sure. That's the little logo for it. And it is a 5-inch easel, or Easel, or whatever you want to call it. 12.7 centimeters for you people who aren't in the United States, 5 inches if you are in the United States, and you just want to get that one. However, if you do have a smaller tablet, maybe like a Kindle or something, you might want to think about getting a smaller one. As you can see, this one is the 5-inch one for the iPad. This one is a smaller one. I believe it's like 3 inches, I think, and this will hold a Kindle pretty much perfectly. If you can get it right there. It'll hold the Kindle really good. It also will hold the Kindle Fire. So if you have a smaller tablet, you would want to go with this. It does hold the iPad. It does hold it, but I don't recommend it because it gets a little top heavy. As you guys can see, it lifts up, and with this one, when you push down on it, it doesn't lift up at all. Nice and sturdy. So if you're gonna make an iPad stand, I would recommend going with this one. If you're lower on money, or you have a smaller tablet and you have an iPad and a smaller tablet, you can get away with this one, but just note that it's not gonna be as sturdy, but it will cost less and it will work with smaller tablets. Alright, the next thing you're gonna need is some self-adhesive felt paper. Mine personally is white. Let me just zoom in on the label for you guys. I'll show you exactly what it is in a second, but basically you can get any color you want, it doesn't matter. I like to use white just because I just like to use it. If you use black and you have pets, you might get some pet hair on it, so you might not want to think about that when you're considering buying a color, but you can get freaking pink if you want to, I don't care. But basically what this is self-adhesive felt paper. So on the front here, it's just nice and soft, and basically what this is going to do is protect your iPad or your device from scratches. And then when you pull this piece of paper off right here, hopefully you guys can see that alright, there is a sticky adhesive side on the back. So that's what you're going to want. 99 cents at your local craft store. I bought this thing for a whole strip for 99 cents. Unfortunately, it looks like it has some glitter on here, but whatever. The next thing you're obviously going to need is just a pair of scissors, preferably a sharp one to be able to cut this easily. So, a pair of scissors. And then this is kind of optional, but it will help you out a lot. Either a Sharpie or a pen. It really doesn't really matter. I almost sometimes use the pen, but just one of these two. A scissor, some self-adhesive felt paper, and a 8 or 5-inch plastic easel. Again, as I zoom in on that, oh, you guys can't see it, but it's a 5-inch plastic easel. Alright, so now you've got all your materials. Let's go ahead and actually start building this thing. One quick thing I want to mention is there is a crack in mine, and that's because me and my friends are playing a game called knee hockey, as you guys can see right there, and apparently someone hit this, and I didn't even notice that crack until I actually started filming this video. So make sure when you're looking for one of these, you don't have a crack in the bottom. I've never had one of these break, but we were just roughhousing, so that's probably why it broke. What you're going to want to do is place your self-adhesive felt paper on a table or something like this, and then place your easel down, or easel, whatever you want to call it. And then what you're going to do is take your pen or Sharpie and basically just trace a little line, kind of like mimicking the shape of the back of this easel. You want to do it on both sides. So just like that. Boom. So now you can see it didn't work out that well, but it'll work out good enough to be able to cut it. Let's go ahead and focus in on this for you guys. So you can see the lines there. So now all we're going to want to do is just cut out that little shape, I guess you could say. Right, so I just finished cutting this out, and basically what we're going to want to do now is just take the easel or easel, and you traced it on the back, or at least I did, but we're going to be putting it on the front. And the reason we're using these self-adhesive felt paper things is because we do not want to scratch the back of our device. Basically, you could just put the iPad in here right now and it would work just fine. However, these corners are kind of sharp and we don't want that scratching our device, so that is why we protect it with some self-adhesive felt paper. We're also going to put some right here and right there so we do not scratch the bottom of it. Basically what you're going to want to do is just take it and make sure that it kind of just lines up with the front of your iPad. Make sure, this is very important, make sure that it goes all the way up here, up to this corner, and that it can bend over just like that. You can make it a little bit longer if you want it to be, if you want it to reach all the way there. Personally, on this stand, I made it all the way around. It just went around all the way to here, as you guys can see. But I didn't make it as long on here, mainly just because I don't care. I just want it to be able to cover, because this is just a video demonstration for you guys. But now what we're going to want to do is make sure that it covers the edge. All you're going to want to do is just peel this paper backing off so you can reveal the sticky side of the paper, and then just stick it on, just like so. Make sure you get it straight. It's okay to pull it off a little bit. Don't pull it off all the way though, because you don't want having sticky stuff all over the stand. Alright, so just like that, we got the self-adhesive felt paper on the stand, and now we're just going to want to, kind of make sure it's on there. Rub the corners of it so you don't have any sticky adhesive getting on the back of your device, because that is not pleasant to hold. And then, as you can see now, when we put the iPad in, nice and soft, so that's not going to scratch your device at all. And it's a really cheap way to just make sure your device doesn't get scratched. Now let's go ahead and trace out some of these so we don't scratch the bottom of our device here. So again, what we're going to want to do is get our self-adhesive felt paper. This is just some leftovers I had from an old project. That's why it's not the full version you saw right here. And by the way, when you're doing this, you don't want to do right down the middle like I did. That was kind of stupid of me. Whatever. Now what you're going to do is take these and just stick it on just like this, just like that, so you guys can see the actual self-adhesive or the actual like little lift from the stand is on the self-adhesive felt paper. And you're just going to want to draw both of those little lifts in the stand there. Let's go ahead and just go like this. Again, doesn't have to be completely perfect. This is really just to make sure you get at least it on, you just at least get a little bit on there. So as you can see, I traced out two of them right there. You can see those lines in the camera, luckily. Let's go ahead and cut those out now. Okay, so now we got our two pieces cut out. One quick thing I want to mention, just a little tip, is make sure you do have some sharp scissors, because as you can see here, I had a little bit of trouble cutting this out because my scissors aren't the sharpest. So if you do have to buy a new pair of scissors, don't hesitate to do so, unless of course you're really tight on money. But having sharp scissors will really make your finished product look a lot nicer and look a lot like it'll just be a cleaner cut and it'll just look a lot nicer. Okay, so now you just want to make sure that these fit all right on your little flaps here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them on the inside here. So we put our adhesive felt paper on the front side, and now we're going to want to put these right there. So just make sure that it kind of lines up. And as you can see there, it's a little bit over, so I might just want to trim that down a little bit. Let's go ahead and line this one up to see if it looks like it'll fit. This one actually looks a little bit better, so I'm going to trim this one down just a little bit, and then I will come back and stick these on the front. Alright, so I trimmed it down. I just bumped the camera, and now we're just going to do is just peel off the little self-adhesive felt paper. Take your little paper, color of your choice, mine being white preferably, and just stick it on there. So just stick it on there just like that. Again, make sure it's on. Rub the corners, and then take this one. I already got the little adhesive off on this one, and just stick it on this side, and boom, now you are about 3/4 of the way done with your stand. We just got one more thing to do, but as you can see, now we got the little adhesive on this side of the stand, so now it won't scratch the front of our device right here, which is always good because we don't want that scratched. Alright, so again, we're going to need this self-adhesive felt paper. I'm very sorry, I think it messes up my white balance a little bit, so it probably looks really weird on camera, but hopefully you guys can get the picture. Again, take your easel, line it up, and just trace to about where you want to cut it. So let's say you want to cut it right here, then just trace to right there. If you want it a little bit shorter, don't trace as much, I guess. So I'm just gonna do it right about here. Just gonna go around just like that, and you guys might be able to see on camera very well here, but once I'm done tracing, I'll be sure to show you. Alright, so basically that's what it looks like. A little bit bigger than these ones right here, but that's because they're going to be going on the bottom right there. So let's go ahead and cut these out now with your sharp scissor. Be sure to have a sharp scissor. It'll make life a lot easier. Alright, now we got those cut out, and basically what you're going to want to do now is kind of just put them together and make sure they're even, so it just looks a little better. But this one's a little bit bigger than this one, so you might want to trim that down. Personally, I'm not going to, because my scissors aren't that sharp, and it'll just probably make it end up looking worse. And again, this is a video demo for you guys, so just if you want your finished product to look nice, you might want to make that even. As you can see, this one is a little bit bigger than this one. Just something to say. Then what you're going to want to do is, after it's even, you want to just make sure that they fit. So we're just going to want to put them on there. This is without taking the adhesive off first. And as you can see, they work pretty much perfectly fine, or they fit perfectly fine. So now that they fit fine, again, all we got to do is take this piece of paper off and put the little paper felt on the device, no, on the stand. And make sure when you're doing this, you really push up against this little foot right here, so that you don't leave any of the easels showing, so your device doesn't get scratched. Again, make sure you massage those corners, or those sides, and boom. Now let's do this side real quick. Okay, now we have both of them on, and you're pretty much done. I have one more suggestion for you that I'm going to recommend after I kind of just explain what's going on here. So now we put our device on, we move it around, and it's not going to scratch our device at all. And this is very important. If you don't want your device scratched, it increases the retail value, just makes your device look nicer, and nobody wants a scratched device. One thing I do want to recommend before we call it quits here is you put some feet on the back of the stand. As you can see here, I have just 4 black feet cut out from the self-adhesive felt paper. Now, one thing I want to mention is, if you're putting this on a slippery surface, maybe with kids around, or it's just a slippery desk, you know, it's just going to get moved a lot, you might not want to do this, or you might want to look at some rubber feet, because this self-adhesive felt paper kind of moves around a bit. Not too much, but I don't want you breaking your device, because I told you to put this on there and it slips off, so you might want to look at some rubber feet. But mine personally, it's usually just sitting there. Nobody ever usually bumps it, and it works pretty good. And basically what these feet are going to do is just, it's not going to scratch your table at all, pretty much because it is just soft. So we're just going to cut out 4 feet and put those on, so let me do that real quick here. Alright, so as you can see, I just cut out 4 little rectangles. They don't really have to be any certain shape, size, just make them a little big, not just like these itty bitty things, because you do want them to protect your table so it doesn't scratch, so make them a little bit bigger. It doesn't matter, you can do rectangles, squares, circles, freaking triangles if you wanted to, but just make sure you cut out those 4 and then just stick them on the back of your stand. Alright, so now you're just going to want to stick them on the back of the stand. One thing I recommend is sticking the feet right on this white spot right here, so you can't see them on the other side. A few quick things I want to say while I'm sticking these on the back of the stand is, make sure you check out iApplyTech.com if you want a written review of this tutorial. It will be on iApplyTech.com, which is my website. If you encounter any problems or you need assistance, if you have questions while making the stand, maybe some materials you might want to get, feel free to tweet me. I am at iApplyTech on Twitter. You can also follow me on Google+. I will have everything, all the links in the description down below, and that's where you can find me. So iApplyTech.com is my website, and there'll be a written review of this iPad stand on there. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, tweet at iApplyTech, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But now, as you guys can see, we have our 4 feet. We put it on the table. It's not going to scratch it. It doesn't move around too much. You know, nothing to worry about for me at least. And now if you put your iPad or your device, your tablet on there, you are pretty much done with your stand. As you can see, it works perfectly fine as long as you don't move it around like that and drop it like I just did. That's bad and you shouldn't do that. But yeah, it can work in portrait mode or landscape mode, so if you want to watch a movie, it'll work just fine like that. and of course works just fine, just like that. And this is really good for FaceTiming, playing games, watching movies, like I just said, like that, and it just works out really well and for a cheaper price compared to this $60 to $100 stand over there versus $10 to $15. Also, if you are getting this at a craft store, especially Michael's, I'm not sure if that's a worldwide store. I'm not going to research it because I don't care about craft stores. But they always have coupons. I got 40% off my total, and it brought my price down like $5. So be sure to look for coupons at your craft stores. Otherwise, you pretty much are done. Go ahead and zoom out here. That's the wrong way. So you got your iPad stand there. This will work with all the iPads, the first generation, the second generation, the third generation, the fourth generation when it comes out. It'll work, I guarantee it. We can see here, this is just another version. You can see this comes out a little bit more. I put black feet on the bottom. If we take the iPad 2 here, still just works just fine. If you have a Kindle Fire or Kindle, you might want to consider making a smaller stand. These should be just available right next to them. Just go to the store and ask them where their easels are to hold pictures, because that's actually what these are for. And this one's just a little bit smaller, and it'll hold a Kindle just fine. This is a Kindle Touch. It'll hold just a regular Kindle. It'll hold a Kindle Fire. It'll hold the BlackBerry Playbook if you have that. And overall, it just works really well for a really good price. This is about $10 to $15. This one's about $7 to $12, $13 I want to say, so this one's a little bit cheaper. That's because it is smaller. But in review, all you're going to need is a scissor. You're going to need a pen or Sharpie. You're going to need a 5-inch plastic easel, or I believe this is 3 inches. I don't know. I threw away the tag on accident. But it's about this size to hold an iPad, almost exactly the same size as an iPad. So it's about 8 inches up from here, and I believe this is the 5 inches, but it's a 5-inch plastic easel. And then you're, of course, going to need some self-adhesive plastic felt paper, and that's pretty much it. It would help you out a lot if you had sharp scissors, super sharp ones. And yeah, there's the label for it one more time for you guys, just in case you're wondering. This is exactly the label that was on there. That shouldn't help you. But easel, I'm sure that's different languages. I'm going to stop talking now, guys. Thank you for watching. Please don't hesitate to thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, tweet it out on Twitter, share it on Facebook. Hit the like button, visit iApplyTech.com. I'm going to stop rambling now. This video is probably long enough. I hope this helped you, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching.